Hi, I'm back. This is Eric G. And today I'm going to talk about truth never gets old. So, everybody gets older, or things get old and older in life, but the truth never gets old. So, culture confusions about truth. So, the Western world has a postmodern thought. At its core, or at its most important, postmodernism is a new way of truth and knowledge. So, in a movement view, objective truth does not exist, and even if it does, we're in no position to know it. Instead, truth is relative. So, remember, truth is relative, truth is not objective. So, truth is not objective, truth is relative. So, you have your way, I have my way. As for the right way, the correct way, the only way, it does not exist. So, who determines or who makes the decision what is true? We do. So, you make the decision about what is true and what is not true? Truth is relative to either the group of the individual. It is not up to us. So, truth, who determines truth? We do. But truth is relative to truth is relative to the individual. It's up to us to decide what the truth is. Not We don't decide the truth for somebody else. What I determine is true is up to me. Not I don't determine what is true for somebody else. We simply do our own thing. So, in this postmodern continues to be our culture default view of truth. It used to be Christians cool to talk about postmodernism and even attempt to marry its central concepts to Christian faith. So, but Christians have largely moved on from that conversation, in some way even objective to the judgment here, arguing that postmodernism is dead. So we're in the postmodernism era, they say. Well, for now, we'll leave the debate over postmodernism, official time of death, to the scholars. So, however, even if we are changing out of a postmodernism era to something else, it seems clear that at minimum we still suffer from the continuing effects of major postmodernism throughout thought in regard to the truth, or related to the truth. So, of course, Gen Z stuff. So, moral truth is one of the defining characters of Gen Z. Let's see. So, our culture's impulses may or no. So, our culture's relative something impulse, something like that. So, my work gives me the opportunity to speak with thousands of Christians, such as saying the work that the person does. Let's see. So the only exception to those students who have training in pop culture offers them proof. Or let's see. Or like the people say, follow your heart, live your truth, or you do you. Mm, um, so those are basically ideas of false views of truth lead to negative outcomes. So if you don't have the right view of truth, it's going to be a negative outcome. So rather than recognizing the moral bankruptcy of relativism in digging ourselves out of the postmodernism hole, we are actually diving deeper into it. So I'm gonna skip some stuff. No. So postmodernism believe that the truth is dependent on is now okay. So the truth. So postmodernism believes that the truth is dependent on to or wedded to identity. So if relativism is true, are the authority on what's true for you. So if relativism is true, you are the authority on what's true for you. Therefore, in order to live truly in this world, you must be true to yourself and express your true self socially and publicly. And what should you expect from everyone around you? They will recognize and affirm this behavior. So I'm just saying that way, it's not a good way to do it. So yes, those ideas have consequences. So expressing individualism is a doubling down on relativism. It's an attempt to lock us in a relativistic prison of our own making, while throwing away the key, and the next generation is drowning in these dangerous postmodernism waters. So restoring confidence in the truth. So if you're going to turn the tide on relativism, it will take effort. So let's see, will not suffice. So talking on the truth will not suffice for some people. Reading a book sometimes is not enough. So I'm just saying that young people have learned relativism for years. So we have to create, or this means creating cultures of truth in our homes and everywhere else. Resisting relativism, let's see, influence is not enough. But how do we make truth a part of their daily experience? Or how do you make truth a part of your daily life? Or how do you teach people to come to Christ in areas of their life? Or we need to have an action plan to restore the next generation's confidence in truth. So identity through condition. So let's see. Okay, so there is a difference between subjective truth and objective truth. Give them an analogy to clarify or to make it clear the distinction. So, for example, the difference between ice cream and something? Insulin? I'm not sure. Something sugar into energy. Is there a single flavor of ice cream that is right flavor? Do we fault others for choosing chocolate or vanilla? Of course not. Ice cream preferences are subject truth, true for some but not for others. So I like vanilla ice cream. That is a truth for me, but I don't really like chocolate. But that doesn't mean that's not a truth to somebody else, and vice versa. So of course, so another example, if your doctor diagnosed you with diabetes, does he ask your preference in medicine? So of course you want the right medicine. He has nothing to do with your personal preference. So even if you think that, or even if you believe ice cream could control diabetes, the facts would not change regardless of your preference. So now for a test, it says, let's see. It says, Identify the statements as subjective truth or objective truth. I can't really see it. Okay. So there's basically a truth test here, and it says ice cream, subjective, or something objective. So there is 10 basically questions, and so it says the first one, that guy's shirt is red. Objective, subjective. That guy's shirt is red. Objective, subjective. Red is the most beautiful color. Objective or subjective? 2 plus 2 equals 4. Objective or subjective? Hawaiian vacations are the best vacations. Atoms consist of protons, neurons, and electrons. Brits can bench press 350 pounds. God exists. Jesus is the only way to God. Something premarital is immoral. Is it wrong for women to have abortions? So the first 5 are fairly simple. Number 6 might not be so simple. It's false even though it is an objective claim. Remember, objective claims are either true or false, while subjective claims are neither true or false. So just remember those things and show that the ideas have consequences. Relativism makes Christianity not relevant or irrelevant. Let's see. So the truth is objective. So no one in postmodernism, for example, when balancing a checkbook, reading the directions on a medicine bottle, or simply walking across the street. Let's see. So it says most Westerners faction will split into referred to as the public and private. In the public space, we operate in the realm of reality. I don't know. In a state of having good sense, knowledge, facts, and objective truth. Doctors conduct their matters there. In private sphere, or in the private space, is like family and church. That is when our personal preference, opinion, and subjective truth. So our public space is like knowledge and facts and objective truth, and our private space is our personal preference and opinion about the relative truth, or matters of religion and stuff like that. So religion is not considered an objective truth to which we submit, but only a matter of personal taste we choose. So here's the result. This split effectively cut off Christ from our public life, where we live most of our lives, and co-sign him to our private prayer spaces, stuff like our private post spaces. So those truths are relative, a matter of personal preference. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see here. So Christianity is trapped in the realm of relativism. This prevents Christ from informing every area of their lives for them. Relativism has made Christ not relevant to the rest of life. Show that the ideas have consequences. Relativism under the gospel. If relativism is true, there are no objective moral facts that hold true for everyone. If morality is subjective, moral choices are mere preferences. So if morality is subjective, moral choices are mere preferences, and if right and wrong are simply matters of taste, sin evaporates the gospel. So gospel literally means good news, but this good news implies the very bad news. And the scripture is very clear that sin is the disease that is cured by the good news Jesus brings. But if radical relativism is true, then there is no moral law, no sin, and no good news. The gospel is not effective and Christianity loses its voice. So let's see. So Christianity has nothing to say to young people if they are convinced relativism is true, because once sin disappears, grace disappears with it. The impact this has on people is unmistakable. So between their common sense moral institutions and a moral relativistic impulse that orders all moral judgments. So the vocabulary students, or the vocabulary that people use to tell stories, so completely absent from the descriptions of the gospel message, are terms like obedience, duty, obligation, judgment, and accountability. Such words only make sense if objective moral truth exists. So obedience, duty, obligation, judgment, and accountability. Those words only make sense if you have objective moral truth in your life. If there's no objective moral truth, then none of those things or words would exist. What does it mean to be Christian? So when somebody said, you'll hear in the relationship with God or following Jesus, important concepts, true, but what does it mean to be Christian? Luke 5:32, repent of sins, atone for sins, forgiveness, freedom from God's wrath, justification before God, reconciliation with God. So those are essential ideas to the gospel. Let's see. So ground truth in reality. Fortunately, truth has a powerful ally, reality. If you're going to recapture young minds for truth, they must first understand the nature of truth and the reality. It's central to that understanding. So what makes statements 7 through 10, so talking about the truth thing, so what makes those statements objective truth? Reality. They correspond in the way that the world really is. So people need to be confident that our religious and moral claims are more than just opinions. God exists is an objective claim about the world out there. It is neither true or false. Moral truth are not merely preferences. Real moral laws are grounded in reality, inform our behavior. Is anything more sobering in life than reality? When our beliefs about the world are false, people get hurt. When beliefs lead to the emerging generations astray, they get injured, but hope finds its beginning in reality. Youth can count on reality when their beliefs are true. But Christians, it's true and essential to all reality. So connect identity to truth. So relativism incursion into our young people's view of identity must be directly and gently and loving. So they need to see The lack and instability of our culture's poised identities represented by the ever-expanding LGBTQA. Such as saying if they attempt to ground their identity in that stuff, their sense of self and well-being will change with their changing feelings and desires. Their perception of their own value will waver. These false identities cannot provide a stable foundation upon which to build yourself. So we must help them find their identity. We must constantly and joyously proclaim our true identity as God's image bearers. Being made in the image of God is a fact of reality that does not change based on our inner thoughts and feelings. It's not something that can be lost. It's inherent to human beings. Only God's objective, true and good design of being human will anchor the people in a sense of self and provide a strong foundation for their own quality and self-worth. So, great opportunities to engage with the world is truth. So, is training the truth limited behind the walls of the church? It shouldn't be. We can bring truth to life when we connect students or people with the real world. So let's see. Let's see. An old word about truth. So we must embody the truth for others. So we must represent the truth for the people that see us every day in our lives. Life with Christ is more than set of true positions. Let's see. When we contend for the truth of Christianity, we show it's not contrary to reason. If our lives also embody Christ's truth, we make it attractive. So in doing so, we become full of grace and truth, like Jesus. Skip that. I'm gonna skip that. Yeah, that's basically the last point. Pretty much, yep, is that our lives should also embody Christ's truth so we can make it attractive. So we become full of grace and truth. And that's about it for today. And I'll probably be back tomorrow. Actually, not tomorrow, because it's going to rain. So God is good all the time, and I'm out.